Hello, everyone. It's good to see everybody. Yeah, we have Chris McG with us today. And
back in the house.
Jeff is back in the house, too. Jeff hasn't been here for a couple of weeks.
It's been a couple months for me, and I've missed it. Sandy, I love my new UKFO in the intro. I need to have it. That's awesome. UKFO.
Jeff, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How are you feeling?
Much better, thanks.
Oh, that's good. And I'm going to do a extremely quick shout out because we only have Chris McG for a very short time tonight. And he has something he wants to share, and I have to run pictures by him. And, well, there's a lot. There's a lot. We have a lot to get to. So, really quickly, let me get to YouTube because StreamYard doesn't tell me anybody. We had Super Mario Bros. 3. He was first tonight. Jackie McCarron's here. Flat Earth Andy's here. Hello. Let's see. Michael Fontaine is here. Pushing button 62. I'm a little concerned. Ken Raz here. David Damo's here. Mandanimal's here. Morgan's here. You know who I haven't seen? Noise Guru. Does anybody know if Noise Guru's all right?
That's an old favorite.
Yeah, I'm gonna send Noise Guru an email because I have not seen him in a bit. Let's see. I said Ken Raz, right? I did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're gonna jump right into this really quick with the folder first, just to get through these pictures. Instead of Jeff's segment tonight, we have Chris McG who has to tell us about. I guess it's a new theory, right, Chris?
Yeah, well, guys, I've been absent for so long because I've been working hard on researching in the UFO field where I'm trying to get ready to launch a podcast of my own. So I've been just like listening to podcasts nonstop and reading books. And I'm actually taking a class with Dr. Diana Pasulka, who is a religious studies professor at UNCW that studies the UFO topic from that angle, which is pretty fascinating. And yeah, so I'm pretty busy on the side, but I really wanted to come back and chat with you guys, and I wish I could stay for the whole thing, but it's just can't stay up too late tonight.
Yeah, it's okay. We're happy you're here even for a little bit. It's all right. You got to tell me what time I have to kick you out, though.
2 o'clock.
Okay, so we got 40 minutes. Then kicking out. All right, so really quickly, there are some pictures that I've been dying to ask Chris McG about because supposedly these photos are old. They were taken with a film camera before the age of drones, before the age of digital. But they look so fake to me because they're so clear and so strange. So, Jeff, I'm adding you to the stage. Now, these aren't even cropped. These are just screenshots. Chris, have you ever seen
And I'm no authority on UFO pictures and videos. It's not really the area I study. And, you know, it's pretty much in this age. We were talking about this pre-show, but, you know, in this day and age of AI, pictures and video are almost worthless because you can fake anything. But when you have older footage, you know, of known provenance, sometimes there's actually some really authentic stuff out there. I've never seen this. That
they get weirder.
Like someone stole the crown from the Statue of Liberty and flew it away. That's a weird one. That's I've never heard of that style. You know, spiky.
It's going to get weirder. Trust me. Has anyone in the chat ever seen this before? Please chime in if you have. But Jeff, there's like 14 pictures. We can move on because you haven't even seen the full shape of this. Like, look, it looks like a pan with flames. I don't understand.
What is that's the Tin Man's hat with some spikes.
When were these supposedly taken?
Early 80s.
Oh, wow.
And some of them, I believe, are from other people, like not just one people taking photos. Hi, Timothy Man.
These are, oh, you're saying these are multiple angles of the same incident? Or
Oh,
multiple people?
Or multiple angles from, I believe, 2 separate incidents.
Now, you couldn't fake this stuff back then, right?
Well, I mean,
Well,
you could. You could do double exposure.
Mm-hmm.
But putting it behind the, well, I guess you could put down the UFO thing first and then put the house on top.
Cross-shaped one. One of the really interesting things I've noticed in ufology is that virtually no 2 UFOs are identical. They're almost always, you know, somehow different and unique, and that's one of the things that raises a lot of questions. If you accept that these encounters and that these people are honest and tell it, pretty good observers, which I think there's just so much overwhelming evidence that you can't throw it all out. The question becomes, why are they all different? And that suggests something very interesting going on that's not quite as straightforward as, hey, you know, the Greys from Zeta Reticuli are visiting you. Either we've got it, you know, 1,000 different cultures visiting us, or something funnier is happening. And I lean towards the something funny is up with this.
Hi, Christine. Jeff, I would just go through them. There's so many here.
Okay.
And they're
wow, whoa.
There's even better ones though. So
Okay.
This is Lake Tahoe. Wait, here we go. Lake Tahoe, May 5th, 2007. Submitter.
Oh, it's from MUFON.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the Mutual UFO Network. So that's an official UFO civilian investigation organization. They basically have methods and protocols to investigate.
See, you did confirm for me that these are real photos.
So that lends some credibility because the MUFON people are serious about what they do. They're trained in how to interrogate witnesses. They make official reports, and you know, it's about as legit as it gets for civilian UFO groups.
Next picture, please.
It doesn't mean they necessarily consider it authentic, but wow, that's so weird. What is that?
I know, and get this, there's writing on it.
Oh.
We do have
A.
close-ups coming up. Yes.
Wow.
Like alien writing.
Okay.
It does look like a ceiling fan. I agree.
It does. Yeah.
Totally.
If they are in there, though, where would they be?
The outside circle?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing we shouldn't assume is that they even need to have anyone inside.
That's true.
That's true. Too.
You know, why would you risk flying all the way across the universe if, you know, you could send AI or a sentient scout ship or
their version of a drone.
Exactly. Or I mean, a lot of UFO reports suggest that the craft themselves are alive and sentient.
Wow.
Like that jellyfish
like
one, yeah.
A living thing, or an artificial intelligence that's conscious, or something bizarre, you know.
Mm-hmm. Next one, please. I'm trying. I'm. So there's another angle of it, but it's like it changes per angle.
That looks like some Final Fantasy stuff right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Next.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many of these. Gosh.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and they get clearer and bigger as we go along.
I don't know why that one strikes me as so authentic right there, but that one seems believable. Go on.
Yeah.
Space station.
Looked like something out
These
of
are-
Star Wars.
Yeah,
These are-
that totally. Yeah, that looks like some George Lucas stuff right there.
Yeah.
But these are all part of that MUFON case.
That's bizarre.
But
It
that's
doesn't
the
even
thing,
look the
it
same from
changes
picture to
shape.
picture.
It
These are
changes
different.
shape.
Like it's gotten way more complicated. Is this really supposed to be the same thing?
It's the same thing. Next, you'll see.
Sometimes craft are known to change shape.
I think the bottom comes out. I'm telling you, that reminds me of a pan. Fire.
Well, it's starting to look like an aquatic robot.
Mm-hmm. You can go on. Hi, Mustard Seed of Faith.
Oh,
So there's some of the writing on underneath. It looks like AY07.
it's weird that it's basically English.
Not the other one though. Next.
Okay.
Is this what is
No, it's just a screenshot. So there's one that's
Oh,
definitely
there's
not
some-
English.
Some wingdings.
CIA?
It kind of does look like it's the CIA.
It does look like CIA. I find it interesting. It looks like there's a humanoid off to the right though. Do you see that?
Mhm.
Or is more of, is that an image of the craft itself? Like a little cross and circle thing?
It could be. It could be. Okay, next. More weird writing. Now, actually, if you turn it the other way, I see a Hebrew character.
Yes. That is
And
The
I'm
one in the middle?
wondering,
Hebrew.
no, the one on the left, the
Oh.
pi.
Okay, it
Pi
almost
symbol?
looks like a delta.
I see what you're saying. Yes, it could be Greek too. Who knows? Maybe it has all the languages on it, so
It's
that
funny that
people can read when they go
It-
overhead.
it looks like it's got the fine print on there too.
It does.
Like some health warning or something.
Instructions on how to use.
Yeah. It's surprisingly busy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of these are just completely seamless. And that's one of the things I've heard, and I don't know whether to, believe this or not, but for instance, Dr. Stephen Greer says if you can see nuts and bolts, that's man-made versus the NHI stuff is almost like 3D printed by the molecule, seamless.
Mhm. Next picture. Dave said, if found, please return to the U.S. military.
That thing in the middle, I hope it opens a portal,
Yeah, it might. That'd be cool.
This thing is, I can't believe, if this is real, it's just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
The clarity is crazy, and it's so weird. I have not examined many photos and videos, guys. It's not what I do. I investigate. I'm looking for storylines and, underlying causes and theories and stuff. So this is kind of new for me. Go ahead.
I think it's more interesting to see the photos that are real, as long as they're real.
Mhm.
Next one. So here's
So
one-
weird.
Mm-hmm. And now it's got spikes out of the back.
Yeah, it does keep changing. It's like this thing is a real-time Mandela effect going through incremental changes. Weird. Because it's so solid. How can it just change?
Well, I could see like the bottom coming down and things coming out of that circular thing. So I could see it being different layers moving. Like there was the one where there was stuff coming out of the top and the bottom. It looked like it had opened up. At least it looked like that to me. All right, you can go to the next one.
There's so many of these. People got great shots.
Yeah,
I don't know how you would fake this either. What?
and that's the last one.
That thing's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, wait. Are you able to zoom in on the inner circle of that? There's little lines. I think that's where they come, like it disconnects and the bottom half comes down. And we saw those things coming down. You see the lines?
Like the white.
Maybe it's
Blotches.
shadow. But I think that ring comes down and stuff hangs from the bottom when the ring comes down. There was a picture where it was down, and you could see there were little bars, and I think it's because it came. I don't know. The spikes aren't there, so.
This is the weirdest UFO I've ever heard of. I mean, what the heck?
That's why I wanted to show it to you.
What is the long panhandle for with 3 segments? You know?
I don't know. Dave, no, this is definitely 100% not AI. This is a registered case, according to Chris. A registered case with the UFO.
Mutual UFO Network. That appeared in one of the photo bottoms that it was, part of a MUFON submission.
In 2007. So there was definitely no AI back then.
Where did you get these, Sandy?
Oh, it was a YouTube video about that case file.
Okay, so
MUFON was.
They did present it as a MUFON case file.
Yeah, they presented it as real. I thought it was in the 80s, though. But then again, this could be multiple pictures from different times. But that one was dated 2007, so.
Yeah. Is there any way you can post the link, or I'd love to
have to go find it. I've been holding on to these for over a month and a half to show you.
Yeah, well, thank you for these. I'm glad you did, because that's just mind-blowing. You never know whether to accept authenticity without being able to trace the provenance and get a sense of the witnesses and all that stuff. But this is, it looks to me like it would be hard to fake if it is old, and boy, is it weird. And the UFO phenomenon is nothing if not weird and full of surprises. That's one of the things that you got to be aware of when you study this, is the phenomenon itself seems to evolve through time. The best researchers notice that, like Jacques Vallée, point out that the first UFOs cited extensively in the modern era were in the 1890s. It was this airship wave that happened, and they were sort of like steampunk, flying boat Zeppelin type things with propellers, and they floated and they could zip off. They could do all the same kind of stuff, and they would shine searchlights, but they looked like, Wild Wild West with Will Smith, type stuff. And there's no way that would actually be technologically feasible. So either it's something more like occult magic, or a illusion, or a projection, the image that they want you to see. But weirdly, the UFO phenomenon adapts and evolves over the time, and it always seems to be a little bit ahead of our technology. So, if you go all the way back to the Middle Ages, there's a report of an actual flying boat that dropped an anchor over a church in England.
I heard
the sailor
that.
swam down through the air, and almost drowned or something. That's in the historical annals. It's recorded in the official court register for whatever year. I'd have to go look that up, and I think something like that happened more than once. And I mean, it was a well-known story. So there's no way boats can fly, but everyone saw this thing. So that's why I think this is not just a extraterrestrial biological, scientists from Zeta Reticuli investigating Earth, but something more supernatural going on.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of that. If you want to get into your theory, because I'm really curious.
Okay. Well, I sent Sandy this week, and I'll try to see if I can post this. Shoot, I'm not signed in.
Welcome, Wendy. Welcome, Joe.
That link I sent you, Sandy, can you post that in the chat? Or
where'd you send it? That's good.
Facebook Messenger, the video I was saying.
Yes.
Did you end up watching that?
I did not get a chance to watch it.
Okay.
I was working.
So if
I
you
will
could
watch
just,
it after the show, though.
yeah.
And I'll put it in the description, too, after the show.
Okay.
I can't edit the description, but I
Yeah.
will pin it to the top.
So I've been.
Oh, that's the whole message. Oh, no. Hold up.
So guys, I've been heavily researching a broad variety of weird topics and trying to figure out how to connect the dots. I am convinced that our Mandela effect mystery, we're not going to find all the answers unless we explore the other anomalies out there, and see if there's any connecting lines. So I've spent a lot of time in the UFO world. I'm also investigating kind of monsters and paranormal, and very interested in time slips. And anyway, I've spent a lot of time in the UFO world, and several things just keep bubbling up. And one of them is there's this persistent kind of hint that something is going on with time, that someone is meddling with time, that we possibly have deep black technology that that someone is exploiting to either time travel or meddle with time, and that's come from several different angles. So I'm on UFO Twitter. There's a group on X Twitter that shares stories, and there's and posts about this topic. And we have what's called Spaces. If you've never been on there, it's kind of like a live community roundtable where people can discuss with each other. And one of the community members is a guy named Steve, who is ex-CIA. And he had this whole crazy experience where he started receiving dreams and download messages. And so some of the messages he received were quantum computers can access the Akashic records, which if you've never heard of that, that's supposed to be, it's almost like the book of life. It's like the deeds of all people through all time. It's basically everything that ever happens. And he got another message from this entity named Malachi. And by the way, I never trust any of these entities that just start, telling people things. But he received a message. He received a message from this entity named Malachi that CIA wizards are meddling with the timelines. And that one really caught my attention because, boy, have I noticed some meddling with the timelines, and I'm looking for any sort of explanation for what might be at the root of this crazy Mandela effect. And maybe it could be more than one thing, But anyway, he had a follow-up space. A week or two ago was what they call UFO Twitter Week, when it's almost like a UFO convention online. They round up a bunch of the best, authors and speakers in the field, and they host these Q&A sessions with the live audience. And so it's pretty great because you get to access all these major names in the field. So Steve and his friend Anjali, who's had similar experiences, hosted a space, and I got to kind of grill them with a bunch of questions. And I said, have you run into any other info, from anywhere that would kind of back this up, this idea? Have you heard anything else about this? Can you explain more about what that might have meant? And he pointed me towards this video that Sandy's going to post.
Which I did. It's already there.
And that's an interview with Phil Corso Jr. So Phil Corso Sr., his father, was a high up member of the NSA when it was first launched in the early 50s. He was a career intelligence guy. He ended up running what's called the Weird Desk, where he had the Roswell files and all the weird UFO stuff. So he wrote a book called The Day After Roswell, which is one of the more famous books on the subject. It's kind of a complicated situation because he co-wrote it with an author that stuck in some stuff that he didn't actually want in there. But anyway, it's one of the seminal books on Roswell and UFO kind of crash retrievals and stuff. And in that book, one of the major claims he says is that, from recovered crashed UFO technology, part of what he did was kind of parse this different aspects of that tech out to private industry to basically develop commercially. And so he says things like fiber optics and lasers and computer chips and various things were either inspired by some of this recovered tech or greatly advanced and accelerated by it. So anyway, that's who Phil Corso is. Phil Corso Jr., his son, grew up in this family, and if you watch this video, he also had an insider kind of perspective and career, and this guy Steve told me he's beyond reproach, and Steve himself is intelligent. So Phil Corso Jr. in this video starts talking about how the same technology that enables anti-gravity and the free energy basically allows the manipulation of time. And he essentially says that the UFO cover-up is not even the main event, because the main secret is the time travel cover-up. And so he's basically saying these deep black programs are in possession of some sort of time machine, and they've been making use of it. And so this is the wildest thing he reports. He reports being asked to come to this meeting where they're talking about this subject with some very high up, intelligence and military people. And I want to say it's either the Dalai Lama or the representative of the Dalai Lama is also at the meeting. And some of the spooks are talking to Phil Jr. and saying, we're having some problems with unintended effects from using this thing. And it's like waves that are interference patterns from different timelines, bringing unexpected baggage along when they make alterations or something like that. And when they say that, apparently the Dalai Lama or his representative gets up and says, "See, I told you it would be like that, and I told you should never have done any of this."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And there's a good 20 or 30-minute segment in that video that is all about kind of time travel and its implications. And well, it's wild. I mean, it's wild to consider that. Could this be true? This is not a guy that BS's. If you watch the whole video, he's a very serious person, and I've got the assurance of Steve that this guy is rock solid. And so I posted recently on X. There's a physicist named Jack Sarfati who says that he understands how the physics work for anti-gravity. And so he's in spaces. He's one of the few people, he says, that understands the theory behind it. So we just had him in a space today for a Q&A. But beforehand, the host of the space said, hey, let me know if you have any questions you want to ask him. And so I posted this video that we're referring to, and I said, ask him about this video and if there's a time travel cover-up. And Jack Sarfati saw that comment and immediately responded, one word, yes.
Yes.
And
he didn't elaborate.
No, well, and I was hoping he would in the space, but it was kind of chaotic, and I couldn't listen to the whole thing. So I don't know if he ever fully addressed that question, but it's coming at me from multiple angles, So, make of that what you will. I don't believe anything I hear from the intelligence community without some kind of verification, because we all know that they also do counterintelligence, which involves muddying the waters with a bunch of BS stories. But Phil Corso Jr. does not seem to be that type of guy. But I just thought, wow, this is really relevant to our topic. This is worth pulling the strings a little bit, to see where does this string, unravel. Right. Because potentially this could have some explanatory force. And I just, over and over again, I kind of get the sense that there's some kind of almost sort of a time war going on. And that was another part of it, was that there's possibly two different sides in competition for the timeline. And it's like, wow, that would be totally wild.
That would be.
And that'd be maybe the first thing I've ever heard of that could account for a flip-flop. I don't know. Tug of war. But so I don't know what to make of any of that, but I thought, hey, this could have some explanatory force for the Mandela effect. And the other reason that I find it intriguing is because imagine if it's not just a sort of CIA and Black Ops technology thing, but that there's also spiritual entities involved, because it's become very clear that our government is making contact with non-human intelligences in order to get technology. And by that, I mean, they're doing spiritual rituals to receive downloads where they get these inspirations for new ideas of technology. And it's like, well, where are they guiding us? Why would we trust them? But this is another thing that's bubbled up from every direction, is that there are definitely some people doing dark rituals in order to gain, new technology to be weaponized. And that's come up from so many different angles. I think that's a fact. So imagine if we have a spiritual time war with technology, and it's so wild. Now I don't know.
Think about that with how advanced robots are and AI.
Someone's going around screwing with timelines, and possibly in some sort of battle with another side, and the changes are causing unintended ripple effects. So maybe that is this weird interference we see. I don't know if this accounts for all the Mandela effect phenomena. I mean, does that account for residue? No. Does it account? Nothing accounts for. It definitely doesn't automatically account for South America moving 1,500 miles.
Exactly.
There seems to be a reality edit physical aspect too. But anyway, I'll leave it there. I would encourage everybody to watch the video, because if nothing else, it's thought-provoking for our community, and it shows how an interdisciplinary approach kind of yields some intriguing leads.
Right. It might get your brain working and thinking in a different way. Like, I will say that could be the most compelling argument for time travel having a factor in the Mandela effect.
Right.
Like, that is the most compelling that I've heard, but I do want to see the video to see.
It's a
exactly
great
what they're
video.
saying.
Yeah. Make it,
Mhm.
see what you can make of it. I'd be curious to hear everybody's thoughts, you know. But it's become a recurrent theme where I think if we have secret back engineered technology, the time part may be even more sensitive than the anti-gravity spaceship part, you know, or the warp drive stuff. Or one leads to the other, you know, and that's why it's so dangerous and not to be made public. But do you want this in the hands of a bunch of unaccountable, you know, spooks?
Exactly. I agree. I agree with that. Oh, hold on one second. I believe that it's going to take me a while to find it because I'm only at 2015. But another aspect of credibility, I guess. I mean, you could. I don't know about credibility. Well, those UFO pictures that case was also covered on Coast to Coast.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I'm trying to find it. It's just
kind of a high-profile case.
Yes, but I'm like I said, I'm going backwards in time on their page, and I'm only at 2014, so it's going to take a while. Do you want to? You still have some time. Do you want to? You want to cover that Mandela effect I was talking to you about for the show?
Sure.
Look, if you're here, Jeff, can we skip ahead? I want to do that one last that you have up. That one's last. Absolutely last. But can you pull up the one that you don't like, Jeff? Because Chris McG agrees with me, so I got to show him the residue. Please.
Oh, someone says I should narrate books. Say Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah. Super Mario Brothers. It's good to see Super Mario Brothers. He hasn't been here in a while.
I will narrate this segment.
You're going to read it? Awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let's do this. I'll make this big. All right. In 1993, a song hit the radio waves that would become an instant classic, with lyrics including, and it goes a little something like this, the B-O-O-T-Y, and of course, there it is.
Can you hit the arrows at the top, please, Jeff? That's weird. Why is it doing that? It makes it bigger, but hides it. That's strange. All right, we can go to the next slide. That's where the question is.
What was the title of this hit song, which ranks as the 97th most popular one-hit wonder of all time, according to Billboard? Please spell the word with the missing letters.
And we can't say it.
H blank P, there it is. And I definitely want to hear from the chat on this one.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys remember it?
Jeff's staying quiet because Jeff has the current memory.
Yeah, I played this song every day, 10 times a day on my mixtapes. I was very into rap. I mean, I still am, but the old stuff.
Jeff, we need to go over what it means to have the current memory. So Pushing Button says whoop. Wendy says whoop. Joe Bloor says whoop.
People who aren't familiar with the music will think it's whoop. It makes sense.
Jeff, this song was played constantly on the radio. Boy says womb.
I had the cassette single.
But Pushing Button says I was a DJ, played it all the time. So do you remember seeing the title, Pushing Buttons?
Yeah, did he answer what title?
Yeah, he
answered whoop.
Whoopee, there it is.
See, that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
What?
Whoopee, there it is. I mean, everybody's going to say some goofy thing if they're not familiar with it.
It was Womp,
See?
says Jackie. Was it one? Just
I'm a
1-0?
hip-hop head. I know my hip-hop, and that was a hip-hop song.
I understand that, but I know this song too. It was played all the time. And
Okay,
it
so
was
Jackie,
not that
Did
for
you
me.
know that there was a song out at the exact same time, played on the exact same stations that played this song called Woot, There It Is?
Yeah, it's in my residue.
Yeah.
It's
And they
not
would
the
always
residue, but it's
joke
in
on
my
the
residue.
radio. They would always
So-
make jokes on the radio about how the two came out at the same time.
wait, there was another one called Woot. There it is. It's
Yeah, by
actually
95
different.
South.
Yes. Yes.
Wow, that's like the whole.
And I would have spelled woot like that. I would not
That's
have
like
put the H in there.
Kazam Shazam.
Julie says whoop, no H.
Now, Jeff, how did you spell it? With 1 O or 2? How'd you spell it yourself, Jeff?
Which one?
Whoomp.
Whoop.
2.
2 O's.
Yeah.
And Jackie spells it with 1.
And Woot was WHOOT.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
But I said if I were to spell, I did not know there was a woot version. Because in 2004, I mean, it was 10 years later. But the only woot I knew was a website, woot.com. So I would spell it WOOT because that's the only woot I knew.
See, that's what I'm saying, though. But us hip-hop heads that listen to this stuff every day, constantly, Hot 97, the rap station, used to play them both at the same time.
They used to play this on the top 40 stations. I'm telling you, this was everywhere.
Yeah, they played Woot
Everywhere.
on the top 40. But on the hip-hop stations, they played
No,
both.
no. I've never heard woot. I've
Right.
never heard that version.
Because you didn't listen to the hip-hop stations. They're the only ones that played it. It
Right.
wasn't-
I'm
it
saying the
wasn't
one
of
that
those
matters was played everywhere. The one
Yeah.
that I know is this one. And it's not it doesn't match my memory at all.
So,
Push the
yeah, I
button
thought
to
it
show
was.
that.
Not a
either.
Mandela effect, though. I will die on that hill.
I thought it was Whoop
For
with
you.
no M, but I
There
never
is
really.
no for you, for me. When it comes to rap, there is no for you, for me. It doesn't work. That's just my
It
opinion.
does. Okay. Well, go to the next slide.
This is something I know better than anybody. Is this kind of music?
All right,
Okay.
in my past, it was Whoop. There it is. Whoop again, 1,000,000%. It's Whoop now. Whoop again. If you remember it always being Whoop, it's fine, but never for me. It was Whoop. So I don't always whoop, but when I do, there it is.
Mhm. There's so much residue of this like that. I included like 2 or 3 of them.
Misremembering in this case. I would never say that for most Mandela effects, but this to me is misremembering. I'm sorry.
Joe Bloor says, the data
Good.
points to we all come from different realities. To quote Cynthia Sue Larson, there is no one objective reality. I remember the Humpty Dance, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a hard time comprehending anyone that remembers
Everybody.
Fruit
Everyone
Loops with 2 O's. And some
Everyone
people say
remembers
that's the original.
Lord Fryberg says, got me bouncing.
How about the
You can go next
terrible
slide.
new Macarena dance that only has half the moves? That sucks.
What?
Yeah, that Brian
You
found
didn't know
like
that?
4 years ago.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
the Mandela effect. I thought you meant like there was a new version of
Oh
it.
no, but
Worse.
they robbed it of half the moves. The Mandela effect did. Looks
Mhm.
stupid now. I mean, it was
It
always
does.
stupid, but it looks really stupid now.
That's a
I-
huge one because everyone knows that dance. There's no way that was what it was. So
No.
ridiculous.
Do
next
we have
one.
another slide?
I actually did a parody of the Humpty Dance.
See, so
All
here's
right.
where I saw Whoop for the first time. They wrote Whoop like I remember, but obviously the album says Whoop.
Yep, that's the one I have right there. That CD. Both of them. Woot and Whoop.
All right. I also want to state that I'm not confusing the title with Woot or the Disney version. The original song was only ever Whoop in my past.
Mm-hmm. Next slide, Jeff. So here is the current reality. Obviously, they're all different Whoops. And then the next slide. It might be more of the red. I think it is more of the
Just
red.
listen to
Oh,
the song. He says Whoop.
I know. That sounds so wrong. So next
me.
slide. Google even gets it wrong. They write Whoop at the top
Well, I wouldn't believe Google about anything.
and then Whoop at the bottom.
I'm going back and forth on this now.
I bet
Next
you not
slide.
one
Now we have
black
the
person would
residue.
agree with this.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to.
Hip hop heads like me, they know it's always been Whoop.
I don't have a dog in this fight.
Poo. Next slide. Now we're getting to the residue. Same thing that I don't always Whoop, but when I do, there it is on a pillow. We got it on t-shirts, including graffiti style. I think that's like hand
Must have
done.
had some emo dudes printing those shirts that don't know rap.
Do we have any other hip hop hardcore people in the chat or anything? Because I'm curious. We do need more. I don't know. We just need more people in general in the Mandela effect.
I mean, it
From all
could have
different
been Whoop
communities.
in a different reality. I get it, but for me, it's always been Whoop.
Next slide. So there's a company that made a beer. Whoop, there it is.
Did South Park get it wrong? Is that actual?
Now that's a
someone
meme.
labeled that. Okay.
That's
Yeah, it's a meme. Wendy says, I used to jump around at the club to this. Here's a PowerPoint by a doctor, the Division of Infectious Diseases, pertussis. Whoop, there it is.
Cough.
There's the full image, not cut off, so you can see 95 South now. Whoop, there it is. But notice again, they wrote Whoop, not Whoop, at the bottom.
Now, Whoop is used by a rap group, although a lot of people who are into rap wouldn't consider them a rap group. Insane Clown Posse, they say Whoop Whoop in a lot of their songs.
But not Whoop, there it is.
Right. But Whoop is present in the hip hop, well, sort of the hip hop community, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Splatter. 100% Whoop. Next slide.
This is a really divisive one.
Okay, wait. No, listen. This is an actual CD, and they titled it Whoop. And on the CD, it says Whoop.
Oh.
Tag team. Whoop. No M.
Wow.
Hey, has your name there, Chris. Look at that.
They did it just for him.
Oh, look, yeah, it's my mix CD.
And DJ for pushing. That's a 2 syncs.
Okay, now that CD there, that's Residue. It was Whoop in another reality.
Well, this is, I mean, just to play devil's advocate, because this is just a perfect example of the plausible deniability of this phenomenon. I mean, that's a word that is, because it's nonsense, you know, it's very easy to imagine people spelling it two different ways. And
it's not nonsense, though. The word Whoop actually comes from, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I saw the research, doing the research. the word comes from language used at strip clubs. When the girl would take the clothes off, like whoop, there it is. You
Oh,
understand?
okay.
That's where it came from.
But
so it's not nonsense. It's got meaning.
okay, well, I appreciate the context, but
Gosh.
it's even then. There are words that have dual spellings, especially in this type of word. You know, throughout
with an M.
the English language, that type of
I could see like WOOP, like taking the H out or something, but adding an M.
It's an easy thing to get wrong, though. He's right.
Yeah, and the M is very quiet and is interchangeable. I mean, in linguistics, that kind of I think you would find other words that have this kind of variation in English history, or would be culturally in one region they say it this way, in the other region they add this. You know, in other words, it's just you can have very clear memories, but it's easy to imagine a bunch of people just listening and getting it wrong.
Yeah,
you know,
it's the kind of thing you could get wrong very easily.
Right?
Why wouldn't you think it was whoop?
Okay, next slide.
And I'm not sure what I heard anymore.
So it's Whoop also on what is that, Spotify? I don't use those. Whatever that one at the top is. Here's another DJ who got it wrong.
Oh, yeah. I did think it was Whoop, but
they do get a lot of things wrong online though with music.
I was
crediting some people who don't sing it, things like that.
I was a hard rock and heavy metal kid, so I was not into hip hop at all. It's just
I listened to all of it, but I listened to rap in the 90s so much more than anything else, constantly, like making mixes for people, listening to the radio station all day long, like over and over again, the same songs. So I know these well. Yeah. So for me, that's what it was.
Yeah. Well, no doubting your memory there.
Yeah.
Whether other people experience a different thing could be possible in this strange reality.
Yeah, sometimes I forget that, you know, with the different timelines, who knows? It could have been Whoop.
I mean, there are definitely people that think that the things you're closest to sometimes don't get messed with, or
the closer you are to something. Not always, though. It's not always that, but it does seem to be the closer you are to something, the less likely you are to be affected. Not that you won't be affected.
I don't agree with that, because at what point are we just making excuses for we're right, you're wrong, our memory's right, no matter what you say?
Well, no, the reason for that is that it's sort of like, here, let me give you a different example. You're losing weight, okay? Your spouse isn't going to notice the weight loss like somebody who hasn't seen you in a couple months. You see what I'm saying?
They're with you, they don't notice.
They're with you all the time, and if you're close to something, you're going to take the update because you're hearing it the new way or seeing it the new way all the time.
See, I don't necessarily believe fully in taking updates.
Oh, I do. I've seen it happen live.
I think that happens, but you know, it seems like there's something to it, that there are certain things, if you're too close to, or there's almost like a regional blackout like this. I mean, Mandela himself is the perfect effect. Does anyone in South Africa have the memory of Mandela?
I highly doubt it.
Not.
Yeah.
And I think that there's something legit to the Mandela memories of him dying. I mean, I've heard someone say they heard a lecture from his widow, you know, introduced as his widow, and it's hard. Like, how would you mess that up? You know.
Well, there was somebody that died at around the same time that was similar to him, though, named Steve Biko.
Yeah, but would they have had his funeral and everything televised?
Maybe.
So,
the people that see, I'm not affected by that one, but the accounts of the people who remember it that way, they remember seeing it on television, the funeral.
Yeah, I think there's some compelling accounts. I'm not personally affected because I was too young to really know, but you know, some people have what seem like compelling anchor memories.
See, my opinion is it shouldn't be called the Mandela effect because I don't think that's a Mandela effect. I just think people are wrong about the OG Mandela effect. It should be called the McMahon effect because the Ed McMahon one is the biggest one of all to me.
Next slide.
Yeah, that's a weird one. That's with the way that new commercials appeared with him denying.
Yeah, that's like a legit, real Mandela effect.
It's like you can find both realities at once because he's got all these, things where he corrects that he's American Family Publishing, and he makes jokes about it, but then he also, there's residue of him answering affirmative about and not correcting people that say Publishers Clearinghouse, and then there's his commercial where he does deliver big checks, and it's just wild. It's both.
It's like he's trying too hard to convince you in the commercials. It's creepy.
Yeah, what's funny is these generating of denial videos. It's so weird.
Chris, were you here when I showed that video clip of Ed McMahon? I don't think you were.
I've researched that on my own.
I'm gonna put. Even Brian Stavely hadn't seen this. It was my birthday show, and it's well, no, I'll have Jeff show it real quick.
That,
the clip, not the video. Jeff, I'm putting the link in the private chat.
Okay.
And we'll just play it because I know there's people here who probably didn't see it too.
I almost took the American Family PSYOP when I first was learning about this phenomenon because I was like, oh, that's understandable how you could confuse American Family. Maybe I didn't know about,
Oh, no.
Publishers is in the name.
Yeah.
But then it all goes off the rails when you find out he never delivered big checks.
Yeah, I was like, no way.
But after this, I'm gonna have to kick you out because it's 12 after.
Right.
But this is a very short. It's an interview, and I cropped a small portion of it. They interviewed Ed McMahon, and what he says makes no sense if he never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse.
Is this the one with Tom Green?
Nope, it's just no. He's in a hotel. Hold on one sec. You'll see.
Okay.
All right, guys. If you haven't seen this, listen up. This one's a doozy. Honestly.
I'm stoked.
To your heart and your mind, you want to get involved with them and see what they do and how they get along afterward. But they're all, important to me. I love to watch Sinbad. I love to watch Dennis Miller. Sawyer Brown was just in my office the other day because they did the new Hot Country Nights program, and they came to see me. But they've been in touch with me since, for 9 years. They've sent me cards telling me where they are, what they're doing.
Is that the clip?
Are we buffering?
Jeff?
It said it was 2 minutes long.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Jeff is crashing.
For all of them. And what I like about it, and I said this in the very beginning, I said, we've got to have an alumni. It's not just the winners. Just getting there, getting on that stage makes you very special and puts you in that elite group of alumni. And when you look at Sinbad didn't win, Dennis Miller didn't win, Tiffany didn't win. The list goes on of people that didn't win, but that are doing great.
It's really, when you look at your career, you have done so many different things. I mean, when you sit there and started listing all those off, I mean, the Publishers Clearinghouse thing, I know it was just a job, but that's kind of turned into something that's very bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy because that's what everybody talks about. I mean, everybody today that I passed in this auditorium have said, where's my $10 million? And of course, I have a standard answer. Where are you going to be Friday night? Because that's when they're going to announce the winners. And it's great. I got a thing going with a little rapport, and it's fun. When you believe how thorough they are, I got one 2 weeks ago. It told me that Ed McMahon may have already won $10 million, and that giant prize will be awarded to you by Ed McMahon. Now, if that happens, you and I better get out of town immediately.
Yeah, Ed better get on his boat out of Marina Del Rey and go, woof, I better,
get away.
He better be gone. Are we going to see Mr. Carter?
I'm telling you, that's the best residue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well,
Ed
he did.
McMahon remembers Ed McMahon working for Publishers Clearinghouse.
He didn't
They
deny it
didn't
at all.
bother to correct him. Why?
Yeah,
And
the
then
only
he said
argument.
he got a Publishers Clearinghouse envelope saying that Ed McMahon was going to send him $10 million.
The weird thing about it, though, is they're announcing the winner on a stage. When he says up on that stage, that's the American family narrative.
Yeah.
No, the stage thing he was talking about before was Star Search. I included it because he was
okay.
mentioning Sinbad.
Okay.
I'm like, there's a connection to Sinbad with the other
Which
Mandela effect.
I
That's
caught
why I
that right away
included all
too.
that.
I was like, weird that, yeah, this involves another central
But
Mandela
He was
character.
talking about Star Search there. That's why. But
Okay.
the only reason why I included it was Sinbad. That's why.
Right.
Sinbad.
Because the rest sounded very Publishers Clearinghouse,
And see, the
sure.
thing with that, everybody remembers that.
Right.
So that's a true Mandela effect.
It's shocking.
Mandela himself, I maybe only met 2 people who remember him dying in prison out of all the hundreds of people I've asked.
You know what? It kind of makes me wonder if there could be Mandela effects that are more rare. In other words, affect a smaller amount of people.
Oh, definitely. I have one that I only found one piece of residue for, and I'm the only one affected by it that I know of so far.
And that does happen, and that's happened with me with a lot of things too. And sometimes I forget that, but I mean, that doesn't make it any less legitimate.
And I also don't deny, Jeff, that there could be ones where the entire thing is just explained by a mistake. I mean, I think that's also does happen sometimes.
Yeah. Well, because not everything's a Mandela effect. We have to be misremembering at least one of them. You have to be fair and honest about it. Because if you're going to go around and say everything's a Mandela effect, well, nobody's going to take you seriously. They're just not.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And that's why I try to play devil's advocate more than I used to, because I've run into that a lot. Where I'm trying to tell people about this, and they're like, well, you think everything's a Mandela effect. I don't, but it comes across that way sometimes if you tell people about enough of them.
Yeah, there's some hills I would probably die on too, where it's like, no, you just didn't know about that. And for instance, some of the KGV stuff, KJV, I can tell right away is not an actual Mandela effect because the way that they supposedly remember it is bad Elizabethan grammar. And I'm like, nah, you just modernized the grammar and you fixed it in your head to what you expected.
I don't know. What's this Mandela effect?
No, well, there's hundreds of King James Version Mandela effects, and a lot of them are legitimate. But I see.
Sorry, I thought you said KGB, like as in Russia, and that's why I was so confused. I'm like, what's he talking about?
No, like King James is definitely one of the most highly messed up Mandela affected things out there, which that in itself raises questions like why are they going after the Bible so much? But
and those are legitimate changes. There are so many legitimate changes.
Some of them are.
I would never argue.
Right, some of them are really obvious. Like when it in the list of Old Testament sacrifices, it says to offer 2 turtles for your firstborn son instead of turtle doves. And it's like no way would anyone ever make that mistake. Yeah,
I didn't do that one.
There were no turtles there.
That's an well. So turtles are an unclean animal, so you can't sacrifice them. They're not. To bring them into the temple would render everything unclean. It's totally everybody knew that. The translators in King James court knew that. They knew Jews. They knew that those reptiles are unclean animals and would not be part of the sacrificial system. There's 0% chance that anyone would ever make that mistake and write, you can offer 2 turtles to the Lord. So it's an obvious Mandela effect. But then there are other things where it's just a verb tense and grammar stuff, and the way that people supposedly remember it you know, they try to cite a change, and it just becomes obvious that they don't know how Elizabethan grammar works. And I do, because I studied Shakespeare and I'm an English major, and I'm like, no, it has to be this way for grammar, and the way it is correct and not a Mandela effect. You just learned it and kind of updated the English in your head. So that's an example of a provable mistake.
Right.
And yet they will insist on that one too. But, you know, so stuff like that happens. There's human error. We are all prone to.
That's what I'm trying to say. They can't all be Mandela effects. We're going to be wrong about some of it. We have to be.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what makes it so
we did
hard.
do a correction once on the hair ice, which turned out to be not.
Wait, you got real muffled, Sandy. Are you? Your sound got bad.
Is that better?
Yeah, you did a correction on what?
Hair ice. So we covered
hair ice.
Hair, yeah, it's ice that looks like hair. It is ice. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't just form that way on its own.
Oh.
What happens is it's a fungus, and the fungus mixes with the water, and that mixture is what makes the ice form like hair. So,
so this is one of those weird discoveries that you find where it's like, is this a new natural phenomenon or just something we didn't know about?
That's weird. I didn't find that one, but we covered it, and then I corrected it. But there is something in the Bible that I keep hearing people say. Like, I haven't seen it in the Bible yet, but I keep hearing people say, and I want to ask you guys if this one was covered by anyone.
Okay.
You hear this in the Catholic Church a lot as well. Speaking about Jesus being seated at the right hand of what?
Of the Father.
Jeff, is that what you remember?
I don't have any memory of that in particular.
Okay. Chat, does anyone know if this has been covered before? Because I'm gonna have to do a presentation. I've always known it as seated at the right hand of the Father. And I keep hearing multiple people from different YouTube videos and stuff, but nothing to do with the Mandela effect, saying seated at the right hand of the power. I've never heard power. Yeah.
That's bizarre.
It is. Tanya Sue says God, and Michael Fontaine says God's throne. I've only ever heard Father, seated at the right hand of the Father.
I mean,
never
you'd have
power.
To specify the verse, but absolutely seated at the right hand of the Father is most definitely, that's a well-worn phrase, you know.
Yes. And that's why it was bad enough hearing it from one place. It was a Ben Shapiro interview with I don't know who he is, but I have the clip. I'll send it to you so you can see it. But yeah, I've never heard power.
I think it's in the Nicene Creed too, that you ascend into heaven and seated at the right hand of the Father.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how the creed goes.
Tanya Sue says never heard power. Super Mario Brothers says I have the tower. Let's see. Now they're talking about Ed Sheeran.
Oh no. Well, that's probably my cue.
Yeah, that is your cue. I was going to say it's 24 minutes past when you should have been in bed.
Thank you for a stimulating conversation.
Thank you for joining us again.
Humoring my UFO speculations. Which
is still pinned to the top of the chat, the video.
Yeah, check out that video, guys. That's a wild one. It's eye opener for sure. Whatever you make of it, and you learn some other stuff probably too.
I will add it to the description after the show. So if you miss it in the chat or you don't want to leave and lose the chat, it will be in the description after the show. I just can't add it while we're live.
Well, I'm sad I have to clock out and say goodnight, but I should so I don't totally ruin my sleep schedule.
Understandable. And hopefully you'll be back sooner than later this time.
Yeah,
Fingers
it's been real
crossed.
fun. So, well,
Yeah.
God bless you all, and I wish you good night, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
God bless you too, and thank you for being here, Chris McG.
Good night, Chris.
All
And I'll send you the icon for next time.
Okay. Yeah, I need to get my UKFO on. That's so perfect.
And Pushing Button says, thanks, Chris. Have a great night, day. And thanks,
All right.
Chris from Joe Bloor. They're all saying thank you.
Me too,
and have a
guys.
good night.
I love you all. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you for humoring me.
All right, we'll see you next time, Chris. Go
All
to
right.
bed.
Signing off, Christopher.
All right. Bye.
Thanks.
All right, Jeff.
All right, so I have something ready to go. Let
Go
me know
for it.
if this is what you want me to show.
Sure. All right, so this is a personal Mandela effect for me. I have a couple of personal MEs to ask you about. I'm hoping that someone will know these, or at least know one of them. But it doesn't. There isn't any residue. There's no residue. The first one is still the current, like what I remember, but we'll get to that. Let's just go on. So this has to do with my area, but not the second one so much. All right, so the first one is a beloved amusement park that was only 15 minutes away from my house. I can't tell you how many times I've been there, but I always knew the history of the park. I even wrote a paper about it in 8th grade. I was fascinated by the fact that this park right now is about 114 years old. The amusement park I'm referring to is Clementon Park. Later, it's supposed to say Splash, Clementon Park, and Splash World. It was only ever called Clementon Park or Clementon Amusement Park in my past. And here you can see it is Clementon Park when it opened in 1907. So it's still in this reality. Clementon Park officially opened in 1907, but somewhere along the way, the name was changed by a company. In this timeline, at least, despite researching this park for my paper, practically living there for 5 summers straight, and visiting for nearly 15 years on and off, I have never heard it called Clementon Lake Park. I've heard of Clementon Lake and Clementon Park, but not Clementon Lake Park. Clementon Lake was separate from the park in my past. Like there was like a beach area that was separate. But now it was a part of the amusement park, and that's the part they turned into Splash World, which is now Laguna Kahuna. There is no date for the name change that includes lake, but it was removed in 1977. So had I not, I just love history. So had I not been interested in this and did a paper on this, I could say, well, maybe I just wasn't born, so I didn't know. But I still probably would have seen stuff like 6-7 years later. There'd still be, leftover stuff of lake, maybe T-shirts, people wearing T-shirts, or like they had the ashtray. I just find it weird that I saw nothing. But the Gibbs sold the park in 1977, and it closed due to an unpaid mortgage in 2019. But it was sold in 2021 and reopened. It's still operating today under Clementon Amusement Park. Go ahead, Jeff. Is anyone familiar with this amusement park? In the middle of a South Jersey suburb. It's like literally in the middle of a suburb. It's not, like for example, Six Flags Great Adventure. You take the New Jersey Turnpike, and it's a big wooded area. It's secluded. It's not. There's houses right across the street. It's smack dab in the middle of the suburb. It's the strangest amusement park I've ever seen. But if you actually have heard of this place, let me know in the comments what you remember. The next one, there's a better chance of people knowing. In the USA, at least. If anyone knows this, please tell me someone recognizes this children's television program. It ran from 1967 through 1994. Here is a hint. The title has Noah in it. Does anyone know this? Anyone in the chat? I know Jeff doesn't know it. It was so awesome pushing buttons. And even now, it's like $30 for a ticket, but like 4 days a week, you pay the same price as a kid. So it's like $16.99 to go to both parks, which isn't bad. Look, Joe Vore said exactly what you said, Jeff. Noah, I don't, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
And Noah Idea from Dave the Damo.
Yeah, I never heard of this show.
And sorry, I don't know, I think is what Jeremy said.
Yeah.
Captain Kangaroo Lovey Love was actually a guest on this show sometimes. Yeah, you missed Chris. You can always rewind. Yeah, Jackie, you definitely wouldn't have. This was, are we in the next slide? This show, oh, here's, for those of you that remember the Upside Down Rainbow. This show was made in Philadelphia in the 6 ABC studio in Old City. It featured Captain and Mrs. Noah, puppets, crafts, animals, guests, music, and art. Every episode ended with the song I Can Sing a Rainbow, also known as the Rainbow Song. Or You Can Sing a Rainbow. No, I Can Sing a Rainbow. While this was a local childhood staple in the Philadelphia area, ABC syndicated the show to 22 stations nationwide. That's why I'm hoping somebody who sees this will remember it. Because this is a huge... Check out the map, everyone. Check out the map. We got a full corner in the top left Pacific Northwest. We have no middle finger for Louisiana. And it's wider in the Northeast. That is my map. That is what I remember. Look how big the Gulf of Mexico is. That is beautiful. I just want to point the map out.
Yeah.
I am really upset by this one. In my past, the title of the show was Noah's Ark. That was the name. It was Noah's Ark. That's it. I can even see the title like on those, you know, like a commercial card. Like it'll be a card that tells you when it's on next. I can see it. Noah's Ark. I'm saying in my mind I could see it on the on-air screen cards, in the TV guide, and the opening of the show. It was just Noah's Ark. And now it's Captain Noah and his magical ark. First of all, I don't like magical in association with Noah's Ark. Number two, no way was it Captain Noah and his magical. It was just Noah's Ark. It was just Noah's Ark. I'm freaking out over this. So I'm hoping somebody, if they're not here now, later on, watches it and remembers. Because it was never, ever, ever, ever Captain Noah's magical ark. I am so upset by this. This is so wrong. And I couldn't find any residue because Noah's Ark is a common title of books and cartoons. So everything that was coming up was unrelated. All right, I did find people remembering it as Captain Noah's Ark, which is better than Magical Ark. But that isn't what I remember. The person was Captain Noah, but Captain was never in the title in my past either. It was just Noah's Ark. But here we have a Noah's Ark, but I think that one's different. But there's Captain Noah's Ark, They skipped the magical, Noah's Ark, Captain Noah, and Captain Noah. Go ahead, Jeff. And check out WPVI TV6, okay? And TV12, which was our PBS. This stuff is old. This is like 90s, 80s, and 70s. Look at the merging. Look at the TV on both of them. They're different channels, different graphics teams, and the TV is both merged. And WPVI, the VI, the PV, the WP, all merged. And there's a dot. No, there was never a dot between the two. There wasn't even a dash. It was blank like the top. There was never anything there. Now there's a dot. No, absolutely not. So I just want to show you guys, these are like local logos that I grew up with, and they are all messed up. All right, guys, if anyone watches this later and knows this show, please comment below, because I feel like I'm going insane.
Sandy.
Yeah.
Have you ever covered the Chili's logo?
Yes.
How it swoops under?
Yes. You can pull it up on Logopedia if you want.
Because I was watching Dave's archives, and even he said, wait a minute, is that the Chili's logo?
Yep. If you want to pull it up on Logopedia so they can see what you're talking about. But yeah, we covered that one a long time ago. It's in one of the many logos and residue folders. One of these days, I'm going to have to take a vacation. I'm going to have to take a break and just reorganize Flickr. Or take notes down, write down what's in what. You know, just so, because the logo and residue folders, it's all it says. So if I need a specific logo or want to show something specific, I have no idea where it is.
All right, so I'm pulling up the one that I noticed, that I saw.
Well, I was curious. I wanted you to go to type in Chili's Logopedia, and Logopedia will come up. That way we can see any changes the company made, like what year it started with that logo. So if it's been like that from the beginning, you know what I'm saying? It's even worse. I'll put you on screen though. But yeah, the looping, yeah. You want to hear something weird? I don't remember the second dot on the I. I remember the pepper as the I. As the dot. I don't remember the apostrophe. It's being used as an apostrophe. But I don't remember that. I remember it.
Yeah.
Oh, you
I
broke
don't
up.
remember this logo at all. I'm very affected by
saying.
this whole logo.
And that's why I'm saying to pull up Logopedia. I want to see the years. And sometimes when we pull up Logopedia, even though we researched it, sometimes there's new logos in there that we haven't seen before. Jackie doesn't know the logo either. Michael Fontaine says, I know the logo. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Look at that. Go to the top one. I don't even remember that logo. And look at the HI. I didn't even know Chili's was in business in 75. Now, we researched Chili's back in like 2019, 28. Like it may have even been the first show, 2018. And I don't remember that logo at all. But Jeff, if you go up, oh, they disconnected it. Look, the new logo is disconnected. They got rid of the pepper is gone now too, unless it's in the circle. But if you scroll up, there you go, right there, 1975. Down. Yeah, no, not that one. next one is also 1975 to 83. And it's already connected with the swoop. So technically, yes, it's always looked like that. Except for now, because again, a pattern we see in the Mandela effect, the company will fix it. Oh yeah, they have the best baby back ribs. I missed that. You still here, Jeff? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Huh?
You were muted. Have you been talking?
No.
Oh, okay.
Trying to
I
look for the
agree. Kit
thing.
Kat is better when made outside the U.S. because isn't it Cadbury chocolate
Yeah. Wait, which one?
or Mars Kit Kat?
Oh, that's yeah, which one is that? I don't think it's Cadbury. No, I think it's Mars.
Whatever it is, I'm sure it's better. Oh, Jeff, you're starting with Smoky and then moving up and then skipping over whatever you already covered, but Smoky. Because we started it last week and the question was missing. I had accidentally deleted the slide, so I didn't upload it. So now it's fixed.
Here we go.
Okay. Do you want to read one?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Credit Jeremy Orr. There is something about Burt Reynolds' character Bandit from the Smokey and Bandit franchise that doesn't match Jeremy's memory. What was the color or colors of the Stetson style hat that Bandit Burt Reynolds wore? A, gray, B, tan, C, black, D, the hat color was different in each version of the film franchise.
So in the chat, everyone, A, B, C, or D. Pushing button says C, black.
B for me.
B for you. And B for splatter. Wendy is C, black. Number 2, tan for Michael Fontaine, so B. C, black. B and C, says Joe Bloor. Hey, we riders. And hello, lovey love. I was reading your comment, but I didn't say hi. Hi. It's a 50-50 split of tan and black. Yes, Sally Field's brother is, well, is he still? He may be done, but he was. Part 1 was brown, says Michael Fontaine. Flea died? I didn't know that. I don't. Jeff, do you? Jeff. Jeff, are you here? Are you there? Love you, love says, Flea, you better not all be messing with me.
I had to step away. Sorry.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, Jackie.
Huh.
Super Mario asks, do you recall Burt Reynolds in a TV series called BL Striker?
Yeah. Never watched it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, Chris Christopherson, Dame Maggie Smith, Donald Sutherland. I know. It's horrible. We're getting old. Let's see, I'm trying to catch up on the chat.
They do not suck. I like them.
They have some really good hits.
Yeah, they do. Not all of them are good, but most of them are. And they sound different from any other band.
I agree with that.
Generally, if a band has their own style and sound, I'm going to like them. If they sound different than almost every other band, or even an artist in general, I'm going to like that artist or that band because they don't sound like everybody else.
I'm the same way. But I like everything. I'll listen to almost anything.
Me too. Not too many exceptions for me.
We can go on. Okay.
Jeremy remembers black for every film. Only problem is Bandit has never worn a black hat. His hat has always been tan. The exact color is called acorn. Do you remember tan?
So like we discovered, half the chat remembers tan and half remembers black. For those of you that remember black, he never wore a black hat, except there is one scene. We're going to get to that.
Interesting that we have another Mandela that technically involves Sally Fields.
Yes.
He also has no memory of the silver band on the hat. Do you remember the silver band? It's officially oxidized silver. I don't remember the silver band. I agree with him. Whether or not you share his memory, I believe it was black for Jeremy. Even Google search AI, that I wish I could opt out of, states that his hat was black while showing me a tan hat.
Yep.
I definitely see it as being black too. Yeah.
It would make the whole outfit match better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I just find it interesting that AI is telling me it was black while showing me a picture with a tan hat.
Yeah.
Funny.
That's always a smoking gun right there.
Mm-hmm.
He did wear a black hat for one part of Smokey and the Bandit 2, but that was a costume for the storyline, not a standard costume. I did not see Smokey and the Bandit 2, so I have no idea why he is in this outfit. The only thing I know is that he's drunk.
Super Mario, this presentation's been done for a while. It's in here.
Regardless, everyone who remembers the black hat for costumes, none have the red feathers. And one even remembers him wearing pistols.
Yeah. Somebody remembers him wearing pistols, which is strange.
Yeah. Also, I have a quick question. How many Smokey and the Bandit movies do you recall?
In the
There were-
chat, how many movies do you recall?
There were 3 for me. Third one did not have Burt Reynolds in it. It's absolutely terrible.
I'm waiting for some answers in the chat. Oh, my chat, it was stuck. I hate it when it does that. Okay, so Michael Fontaine is 3. Super Mario Brothers is 3. Woo Riders is 2. Wendy B is 3. Tanya Sue is 3. Dave says 65. 2 that I remember is pushing buttons. Hey, Curiouser.
Hey, Curiouser.
The Supernatural Bible Changes won't let me click on it. Is 3. There we go. Hey, Neo Freak. Oh, I can't click on. What is going on? Neo Freak, I thought I gave you a wrench last week. Let's fix that. Maybe you were on Ray's channel. So Neo Freak says 1. Joe Blore says 3. Curiouser doesn't know. Hey, Richard. Richard says 2. All right, we can go on.
I'm counting on all of you to determine if this is an ME or just bad movies I never heard of. But I do not recall. What? 7 films in the franchise? Do you? 6 if you did not count part 2. Because apparently people hate that movie even more than parts 3 through 7. What?
So it's a high quality if you want to zoom in and read all the titles on the back.
Bandit Goes Country.
Smokey and the Bandit, Smokey and the Bandit 2, Smokey and the Bandit Part 3, Bandit Goes Country, Bandit Beauty and the Bandit Silver Angel.
Now this is definitely Mandela effect for me. There were 3. And why would there be any more after 3? 3 was so terrible because no Burt Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
So why would they go on after 3 was such a bad movie? 2 wasn't that bad. But 3, oh my God. There was no point.
It gets even worse.
3 just had Jerry Reed's character playing Bandit.
Bandit.
Yeah.
Because the title was Smokey is the Bandit. That was the title. Smokey is the Bandit.
Who was even in these other ones?
What's her face? Well, wait, do this first.
Okay, one more question. Do you remember a musical? Because there was one. No. Wait, why is this here?
It's a duplicate slide. You can skip it.
Okay. That's the last one, though.
Oh, no, that's the last slide. Read it.
Okay. Do you remember Black Like Jeremy? It makes sense. It makes the outfit match. But other than that one scene in part 2, it's always been tan. Oh, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you again to Jeremy Orr for sharing his find. I got to know who was in these other ones because that's just crazy.
I'm trying to remember her name. I think it's Elizabeth. Hold on.
That's
all right. So Smokey and the Bandit forecast. Hold on. Wow, it's not even telling me. Brian Bloom. Elizabeth Berkley. That's what I was thinking of. Elizabeth Berkley.
No way. Saved by the Bell? Really?
Christopher Atkins. Brian Krause. Okay. And then Number 5, again, you have Brian Krause, Brian Bloom, Richard Belzer.
Oh, wow. I would have definitely heard of these.
And number 6, it's not even telling me. Probably because I need the actual name. Beauty and the Bandit. Here we go. Brian Bloom. So it was the same.
And were they TV movies?
Yes. Some of these were TV movies.
I mean, that could explain why we've never heard of it, but I'm still calling Mandela on it anyway.
They were still released on VHS and DVD and Blu-ray.
Yeah, I think I would have seen them as often as I would go to the store and look for DVDs to buy. I think I would have come across those at least once. So to me, it's a Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm. All right, what's next?
All right, we're going to go in order here. It's just easiest.
Mm-hmm. Should be leaves, right?
Yep.
Okay, credit sadly Karen. Karen recently heard a term used that she had never heard before, despite living in Michigan her whole life. And when she asked me, I had never heard of it either. So now we are going to ask you. Oh. Okay, yes or no? If yes, tell me how long you've heard this name. Have you ever heard the term leaf peeking or leaf peeping? This includes other forms like leaf peep and leaf peeper. Have you ever heard of leaf peeking or leaf peeping before?
No.
So if you say yes, tell me how long you've heard of it. Let's see. Wendy says no. Richard says, oh, hell no.
I'm with
Neo
Rich.
Freak says nope. I know, me too. Same with Karen. Dukes of Hazzard, SVU. Oh, if you're talking about Richard Belzer, I got it. Joe Bloor says leaf peeping. Tom, just kidding, no. Dave the Damo is no. Curiouser is no. Tanya Sue is no. Leaf peeking maybe, says pushing buttons. Lovey Love is nah. Curiouser's confused. There's a comment for you from Michael Fontaine.
I don't understand.
It says, to know if someone is young, I have a friend, she drives a rig. I asked her, where are you going now? She said Vermont. I said, that's where Beetlejuice was shot. She asked, what's Beetlejuice? So that's how you know you're old. What's a Beetlejuice?
Yeah, that happens to me a lot. I hate it.
Yep.
People don't
Splatter
know things.
says,
I think they should know.
yeah. Splatter says, no, why would I?
Wait a minute. Like, how would you not know Beetlejuice? They just came out with a new movie.
I know, but Splatter's talking about the leaf peeking.
Now I'm talking about Michael Fontaine's comment. That shocks me that somebody wouldn't know Beetlejuice, especially considering there's a new movie. It's not very good from what I heard.
Uh-oh, what's going on there?
But yeah, this leaf thing's ridiculous. I never heard of those terms in my life.
Yeah, we can go on. You'll see pushing. I give a definition. Oh, I was reading. I thought you were. I'm sorry. For those of you who said no, leaf peeping is the act of traveling by any means, including walking, to view and photograph fall foliage. The issue is we have never heard it called that until 2024. And I can't read that. It's so small. Leaf peeker. Yeah, leaf peeker has been used since the early 1900s. It's okay. And leaf peeping was first used in a 1966 article. These are not new terms, yet somehow neither one of us has ever heard of it before. And we just say going to see the fall foliage or see the fall colors. It never had a name in our past. And the top is just, the citations for those years.
Yeah, that's crazy. I never heard of that.
Mm-mm.
And on a side note, how boring does your life have to be? I mean, that's what you're going to do. Just one.
I would definitely take photos though. I love photography though. Get a good shot, enter in a contest, you could win something good.
So Super Mario Brothers confirms that Beetlejuice was not very good.
Yeah. I can't. Obviously, they're red, so they're all leaf peeping.
Yeah, leaf peeping, yeah, all peeping.
Mm-hmm.
Leaf peep and peeping.
It is leaf peeping time of year, apparently, in this reality. Curiouser. Supernatural Bible Changes says, never heard of it. Agree. That's the consensus.
Leaf peeping.
Oh, this one's great. 9 years ago. Look at that. And they had just heard of it then. They say of leaf peeping, an informal form in the US and Canada for activity. Anyway, today I learned. It's in the Today I Learned thread. So they had just learned 9 years ago of it.
Seen one leaf, you've seen them all. Why does it keep skipping on me?
I don't know, but this one said, some of these articles cracked me up. So the ultimate leaf peeping guide. Fall travel is the best, but please don't call it leaf peeping. Better names for leaf peeping. And there's another one.
Looking at that for us.
Yeah. There should be another one of articles, right? The next slide. No, did we skip 2?
No. That was it.
Back for 1 second. That's weird. I had another one. It said, for the love of trees. It said, for the love of trees, stop calling it leaf peeping. Are these words new to your reality too? Or have you always called it leaf peeping peeking? Let Bus know in the comments below. Thank you again to Sadly Karen for sharing her find.
Couldn't agree with her more.
Mm-hmm. Leaf peeping is when you drive, fly, walk, run, paddle, bike to an area to view and take photos of the leaves changing color. Which I would assume happens in the spring for you, correct, Jackie? What's up? Oh, you're waiting for me to put it on. You gonna read this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to ask you about two weather-related things, but just a quick heads up. One of them is supposedly space weather. That is still a Mandela for me because I have never been taught in school or heard a science channel, news, etc., ever mention that this could happen.
Yep.
Yes or no, have you ever heard that tornadoes can develop on the surface of the sun or any star?
Yes or no in the chat. Have you ever heard that tornadoes can develop on the surface of the sun or any star for that matter? Were you taught in school? Did you hear it on a science channel, a YouTube video talking about the sun? Have you ever heard this before?
No for me.
Hey, Weather Greg. Shoveling. Oh, snow peeping. I just saw that, Curiouser. Pushing button says no. Joe Bloor is screaming no. Hey, I'm for Christ. Wheeler Greg says no. Never heard of that, says Jackie. Adam for Christ says no. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of supposedly and allegedly these days. Not Jupiter, the sun. Hurricane it's a hurricane now. Milton. I think I hear police sirens. Curiouser says no. Yep. Not the whole presentation though, just the first part. Okay, you can go on, Jeff. You can let it play. There's no sound.
Supposedly, allegedly, this is a video of a tornado on the surface of the sun. And they are claiming to have known this is a thing since 2011. This video was recorded September 25th, 2011.
Tornadoes on the sun.
That definitely was not a thing for me. And in March 2023, this one was allegedly recorded. It stands 14 globe Earths tall, according to astronomers. Is this the first time you are hearing about this? Because this is new info for me, despite this information being out there for 13 years.
New for me.
Some extra images of the event.
Including a diagram. They have a diagram of how these things work.
Let's take a look at that here. That first word's interesting, as I mentioned before. Now back on Earth, I thought I had covered every type of lightning that existed. Colorful lightning, positive bolts from the blue, lasso or looping lightning, sheet and ribbon lightning. But there's one more I need to ask you about. A typical bolt of lightning branches out like a tree, but occasionally they do not. These are called single-channel lightning bolts, and one's pictured above have always been a part of my reality timeline.
Okay, so really quickly, the two on the left are your typical branching, normal lightning bolts. On the right is a single-channel lightning bolt that I have seen before. I've seen lightning like this before. Okay? What we're about to get into is what I have not seen. So go ahead, Jeff.
But these super smooth single channel bolts of lightning, these are new to my reality / Earth. Have you ever seen smooth lightning before? Is this new for you too?
So yes or no, chat. Have you ever seen smooth lightning before? No jaggedy edges. smooth. No one's answering. Jeff, have you seen smooth lightning before?
Nope.
Wendy says no. Jackie says nope. Dave is just laughing. Never seen this, says Jackie. Neo says no. Nah, says Pushing Buttons. No, says Richard. Maybe. I can't be sure, says Whaler Craig. No for Joe Bloor. Again. I only remember straight lines like that and also in TV. You only remember them smooth? Wow. That's crazy. But I'm not surprised. Different realities. Curiouser says no. Don't think so, Splatter. Michael Fontaine took a picture of a bolt before. It was perfect timing and jagged bolt. Yes, but it's very rare, says Adam for Christ. For its rareness, there's a lot of pictures of them. These are not CGI, Dave. These are not. These are actual photos. Oh, I'm not opening my email right now. I was having problems with it today. Major problems with it. The app, not the email itself. The app I'm having problems with. I need an update. I've heard about the day the clown died. They're releasing it finally? I didn't know they were going to release it.
All right, so here are some more of those not CGI pics.
Yep, there's a lot more. There's more after this too. Oh, and check out the bottom left.
Yeah.
Now that is the only one I found like that, so that's why I didn't include it as a separate topic. But I've never seen lightning do that. But it can go up and down like that.
What is going on here? Here we go.
There might be a duplicate slide in there. It's like duplicated. It's like you're going backwards. You're going backwards. Go the other way. Go the other way.
I'm not going backwards.
No, I'm saying the slides are going backwards for some reason. Oh, it's because you're not in the folder. You're in the... Get out of there. You're in the photo stream. You're not in the folder. Something happened where it moved you out of the folder. Let's just go down to the slide where you're supposed to be. There you go. The last one.
Yeah. Okay. Are either of these new to your reality? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
It looks like the tornado's taking a piss. Oh my God, I can't.
All right.
Or a lightning rainbow. Pushing buttons. Okay. Yes, exactly. Super Mario says controversy surrounding the subject matter. It apparently was so sad, and Jerry Lewis was not known for sad stuff. And there was something specific with that. Like they didn't want it to mess up his career or something. I did read about it, but I forget the exact specifics now.
All right, we're on the last one.
Last one for the night, guys. Okay. There is something shifty going on with Looney Tunes. This is just the first part. Expect other parts to come soon. But tonight, I want to ask you about the little yellow canary that Sylvester the cat is always chasing.
Damn it.
I know. What is the little yellow canary's name or names? What do you remember? No cheating. So guys, what name or names do you remember for the little character on the screen? Let's see.
I thought we
You're
covered
welcome,
this one
Christian.
before.
No, I talked to you about it. I never covered it.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's right.
So Jackie says Tweety Bird. Well, Pushing Button says Tweety Bird. Wendy says Tweety Bird. Dave says Tweety Bird. Joe Bloor says Tweety Bird. I think Tweety Bird's a male for some reason. I call him him. Curiouser says Tweety Bird. New York Freak says Tweety Bird. Tanya Sue says Tweety. And it doesn't matter. I'm reading it.
Yeah,
Tweety is a boy, says Tanya Sue. So I was correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Splatter says Tweety. We can go on, Jeff. In my past, this character had a short name, Tweety, and a full name, Tweety Bird. That's it. No other names. Is this what you remember? Apparently you do, because everybody's saying same thing.
Yeah.
Tweety. Tweety Bird is fine too. They're both right. Tweety Bird, says Richard. Tweety is still Tweety Bird. That isn't the issue. The problem is, Tweety is also Tweety Pie. Yes or no in the chat? Do you remember Tweety Pie? I almost took an update on this because of the term of endearment. Sweetie Pie, Cutie Pie. Tweety Pie started sounding right, but I know I've never heard him called that before. No, screams Wendy. Pushing Buttons is no. Richard wrote a T. My screen just zoomed in. Neo Freak says no. Dave says yes. Jackie says no. Voice says not no Tweety Pie. No, Never, says Joe Bloor. Adam for Christ is no. Hey, I just got an alert from Rumble that I started streaming. At the end of the show. Richard says no. Curiouser says yep. You remember Tweety Pie? I thought I showed it to you and you didn't remember it. Tweety is 82 years old. Wow. Jeff, what about you?
Nope, never heard that.
No, Jackie, this is the average show when Ray's not on it. When Ray's on the shows are extremely long. But when Ray's on the show, this is our average show length, 2 hours. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for welcoming me to the stream. I appreciate it. Nope. Nope, Super Mario. That's not the current reality. That's why I said don't look things up. That is not the current reality. So here you can see the aliases are Tweety Bird and Tweety Pie. Here's a lot of Tweety Pies for you, including a door labeled Tweety Pie on the wall for Tweety Bird. Two hours feels like 30 minutes. I can see that. And that makes me happy. That means you're having a good time. That's awesome. Thank you. You hear Jackie, Jeff? Jeff, she's saying the show needs to be 4 hours.
Not if I'm going to be on it. As tired as I get, too, is too much sometimes.
Yeah. Next. So here, I didn't highlight it. I ran out of time. Looney Tunes embossed Tweety Pie mug. Looney Tunes, another language, but it's a planter, Tweety Pie. And a beauty blender, Tweety Pie. Dad? more Tweety Pie, including a DVD set, Tweety Pie and Friends. So we
That's
should have heard of this.
Yeah. I think I would have seen that DVD.
The Back to School collection.
That's not quite all, folks.
Yep, that's not quite all, folks. That's actually a podcast. If you guys are interested in a podcast about Looney Tunes, I recommend That's Not Quite All, folks. Bonus question. This is most likely not a Mandela effect, but I had to ask anyway. Yes or no? Do you recall Tweety ever being a different color? Yes or no in the chat. Jeff, do you?
Nope.
Yes, he is just called Tweety. Aliases are Tweety and Tweety Pie. Pushing Button says no. Wendy B says nope. No, he was not, boy. Tanya Sue says no.
Flash.
And Neo says no. We can go on. Yeah, it's flesh.
Oh, wow.
In Tweety's first cartoon, Tweety was flesh. Well, they say pink. That's flesh. A very warm pink. Audiences and executives at Warner Brothers thought he looked naked, like he was plucked. He does. He looks plucked.
He does.
So they immediately changed Tweety to yellow. $1947, Jackie. Go ahead. Next slide. Sylvester, as we know him, was in the episode looking very different with a different name. Castello. No, I'm sorry, Catstello. His buddy Babbitt helped to chase Tweety down. A play on Abbott and Costello. So it was Babbitt and Catstello. Oh, and Tweety's name was Orson, not Tweety. Like I said, it's probably not a Mandela, just info we never knew. But I thought I should mention it. Is any of this a Mandela effect for you? Let us know in the comments below. And thank you, everyone, for participating and being here tonight. Welcoming Jeff back. Welcoming Chris McG back. You guys are awesome. Jeff, do you want to do a shout out? Because I did a shout out in the beginning of the show. Do you want to do a going out shout out?
I barely talk right now. Sorry.
It's all right. I can only see a little bit of the chat, guys. So I'll do a shout out for what I can see. If I don't say your name, quickly say hi at the bottom. Okay, I had Super Mario Brothers 3. He was first tonight. Wheeler Greg, Michael Fontaine, Curious and Curiouser, or Curiouser and Curiouser. I said Wheeler Greg, right? Yeah. Pushing Button 62. Adam for Christ is here. Dave the Damo. We had Love V Love. Woo Riders, DG. Splatter 420. I said Dave. Scrolling down. Joe Bloor. Tanya Sue is here. I'm still scrolling, guys. Wendy B is here. Neo Freak 91X is here. Richard Minnick. I said Adam for Christ, right? Adam for Christ again.
Yeah.
I am seeing all the same names. Give me a second, guys. I know I missed some of you. So I could only go up so far. Got Wendy. I'm still scrolling. Voy is here. Or Voynich. DD74 was here earlier. Ken Raz. And Ken Raz just popped in again. And that is all I can see. If I missed you, I'm really sorry, everyone. But that is all I can see. And I guess we'll see you next week. Jeff, is there anything you want to say before we go?
I just want to thank everybody for watching.
We want to thank you all for being here. And Jeremy may do a show sometime this week, maybe tomorrow or the next day. I don't know. It's not definite. But I will post in the community tab if there's going to be something. Other than that, I don't know if I'm doing anything with Ray. Most likely, I don't know if I think he's taking a break to do music. And, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll throw something together. I don't know. I do have to work on Mandela, though. Lots of stuff going on behind the scenes. Emails are on hold, like I said. Well, also because of the app, having an issue with the app that started today. And I am so behind on comments and messages because I've been working like literally nonstop. Because I'm essentially getting 2 shows done at the same time because I'm working on Mandela stuff. So if I'm more sparse online, that's why. All right, guys. Well, I'm starting to lose my voice, so I think we're going to call it a night. And definitely we'll see you next week. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Smash the tube, smash the tube, smash the tube, smash the tube. Turn the strap off, 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 please turn it off. Why must we watch Friends? 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 I've seen this show about 1,000,000 times. Not even funny when I'm drunk or high. Why must we watch Friends? 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 I'm telling you now for the 100th time. To change the channel, this show is a crime. Why must we watch Friends? 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 That laugh track is so annoying to me. They wouldn't need it if the show was funny. Why must we watch Friends? 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 There's so much better ways to spend my day than watch TV sing down a cat so smelly. Why must we watch Friends? 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 Why must we watch Friends?